how do you, I mean, what we've heard from lawyers representing some of these people is that they deny that they're members of this gang, or either, you know, Tren de Aragua or MS-13. Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them in to a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Confident. Look, due process. What was Lake and Ronnie's due process? Where were all these young women that were killed and raped by members of TDA? Where was their due process?
Well, the people that did that should be prosecuted.
Alive on a subway. Where's her due process?
That's Trump border czar Tom Homan flipping the script on ABC host and professional sleaze Jonathan Karl over the legality of deporting violent illegal gang members. Welcome to Nerk News. I'm Nerkish, and it looks like Democrats and their lackeys in establishment media are once again adhering to Scott Jennings' 80-20 rule of liberals fighting tooth and nail to defend some of the least popular policies imaginable, like caring more about the hardships of people entering the country illegally over the disastrous effects of them doing so. Here's Homan proverbially taking Karl to the woodshed with some hard truths about the people being deported.
So how do you determine, or how do your people in the field determine that somebody is a gang member?
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories. Just like a lot of terrorists in this world, they're not in any terrorist database, right? We only know the information what's in databases based on, for instance, most terrorists we arrest that are identified by the U.S. government are later identified through a Title III investigation or through an undercover operation. They're not in any terrorist screening database. We know that. A lot of gang members, I started as a cop in 1984. Many gang members don't have a criminal history. So we have a count on social media. We have a count on surveillance techniques. We have a count on sworn statements from other gang members. We got to count on, wiretaps and Title III. So everything involved with the criminal investigations come into play. So just because someone hasn't been arrested and charged with a crime yet, doesn't mean they're a member of a gang. Bottom line is, that plane was full of people designated as terrorists, number one. Number two, every Venezuelan migrant on that flight was a TDA member based on numerous criminal investigations, on intelligence reports, and a lot of work by ICE officers. Matter of fact, 2 days after that flight took off, I even had a discussion with the acting director of ICE, and he reiterated that every Venezuelan on that plane was a known member of the TDA. So a lot of officers, a lot of criminal investigators, special agents who've done this for decades, looked at the intelligence information, the criminal investigation information, all their various social media and surveillance and government records and public records, and they're confident that they're all members of the TDA. And I'm not surprised that a member of the family saying they're not a member of the TDA.
You know, the modern left really seems to have nothing to offer beyond entropy and red tape at this point, because it's basically been reduced to the party of regulation, self-hatred, and bureaucracy. And the people who belong to it often forget the fact that the primary duty of government is to protect its citizens. Swiftly deporting violent people who shouldn't be here in the first place, maintains sovereignty, ensures border control, saves taxpayers money, and most importantly, deters future border crossings. I mean, if illegals know that they can come here and spend months or even years avoiding the law or tied up in our courts until some Democrat comes into office and gives them amnesty or turns a blind eye like Biden did, it's practically a no-brainer for them. But if they're dealing with a president like Trump who actually takes the issue seriously, crossings are going to go down, and that's something even the hacks and establishment media can't ignore.
As you just mentioned, the numbers are way down. I mean, they are dramatically down.
They are down. Illegal entry is down 96%. What's most impressive is known gotaways. Known gotaways under Joe Biden, were on average 1,800 people a day across the border, weren't apprehended, weren't processed, weren't vetted. We don't know who they are, where they came from. That's a huge national security issue. Known gotaways are down to, double digits now. But, we're not going to be satisfied till that known gotaway is down to zero. We're going to secure that border, make sure no public safety threats or national security threats cross that border and get away. So, look, like we knew what would happen as we secure the southern border, the land border. Some of these groups are going to take to the maritime. They're going to take to the water. So we're, got the Coast Guard, you got CBP Maritime Patrol, we're going to have the Navy out there looking at the maritime. And again, it's just not about illegal migration. It's about people who come to this country to do us harm. It's public safety threats, national security threats. You look under the Biden administration, we had over 400 people on terrorist watch lists. that were arrested trying to sneak in the country, but we got 2.2 million gotaways under Joe Biden. 2.2 million people paid more to get away. They could have paid less money, just get to the border, turn themselves over to the Border Patrol agent, get released within 24 hours, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, get free medical care, and get work authorization in 90 days. So why did more than 2 million people pay more to get away? They don't want to be vetted, they want to be fingerprinted. We're going to secure the border, both the land border and the maritime border, to make sure these public safety threats and national security threats will get in the country. So we'll use these assets as long as we can till we get to the point where we have total operational control of the border and national security threats have no avenue into this country.
I love whenever these shows are forced to talk about the reduction in border crossings because it highlights just how biased they really are. I mean, they never act like it's an achievement or something worthy of praise because it's not considered an accomplishment to them. It's always portrayed as something shocking that they seem slightly horrified by, and often used to suggest that border enforcement should be reduced or is no longer needed, as if all of this is just some arbitrary goal we're supposed to forget about and move on from once we achieve it. Speaking of which, here's Homan pointing this out to a Smug reporter who coincidentally was issued the same exact liberal narrative about identifying gang members.
And let's remember, many of those on the plane were removed through Title VIII, not through the Alien Enemies Act. So again, it was the right thing to do. That's what the people of this country mandated President Trump deal with the border crisis, deal with illegal immigration, and deal with illegal alien crime, and that's exactly what we did. We removed terrorists. That should be a celebration. We removed terrorists from this country, and I stand by what the president did. I support 100%.
How do you determine whether somebody is a gang member? What criteria do you use?
To various investigations. A lot of the ways we do it, it's law enforcement sensitive. I'm not going to share all that with you, but whether through social media, through the activities, through their criminal records here and abroad. So this was done a very. The review of this issue was at the highest level I've seen, and I think, again, I stand by everything we did this weekend, and I think the president keeping his promise to the American people. We removed terrorists from the country this weekend. I can't believe any media would question the president's ability to remove terrorists from this country.
But what do you say to those who say what do you say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this is
I've got to say, Tom Homan might be one of my favorite members of the Trump administration, which is saying something because he's picked a lot of great people in his second term. But Homan stands out because he speaks plainly and knows exactly how to handle the media without overdoing it or coming off as argumentative or aggressive. It's almost like he's from a bygone era or something, and just like Trump, he's able to cut right through the sanctimonious BS of liberal elite who think using $5 words and bragging about their useless degrees makes them an expert or correct in their opinions. But let me know what you think. Who's your favorite member of the Trump administration in his second term? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!